Alrighty, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. As always, I'm your host, Saunch. Welcome back to a special installment of Bodybuilding Today, Good Morning Muscle. Now, I know RX Muscle does something similar like this, but I've actually had, I think it's called like Good Morning Muscle, or his is called Muscle in the Morning. That's what it is. Anywho, mine's a little different. We're going to be talking mostly Bodybuilding Today content, giving you some exciting news in the world of IFBB and NPC as you start your morning. So if you're interested in learning a little bit about Quinton Eriya, we're going to talk about the Indy Pro. We're going to talk about the an upcoming Canada show. I think it's called the Montreal Pro. We're going to talk about Big Ramy, Hadi Choopan, Michal Križo, Joe Seeman, Ashley Kaltwasser, again, winning another show back to back to back. And also we'll finish it up with Keone Pearson news. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Let's roll the intro and get into this morning's video. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, let's go ahead and start off this morning morning muscle. I don't know what I'll call it. Anywho, Quinton Eriya, I was listening to the most recent Fouad Abiad podcast, and they're talking about how Quinton Eriya has announced that he's going to be doing the Tampa Pro and the Texas Pro around, I think it's like 15, 20 weeks out at this point, and he's currently standing in these most recent physique update photos 6'1", and a half ish, around 290 plus pounds, somewhere around 296. Now, this does raise some concerns when we talk about the health and longevity of open bodybuilding, as there's been a new and recent push by some of the biggest names in bodybuilding, things of Fouad Abiad, people of Nick Walker, saying that they'd be interested in adding some health measures to men's open bodybuilding to try to raise some awareness and some prevention from some of these younger athletes passing away from heart-related issues. It is no question. It is no, there's no question about it, ladies and gentlemen. When you put on that kind of muscle, I sit around 220, 230, completely different structure, of course. But when you start getting in the 250s plus, you're putting a lot of extra strain on your heart. If that be muscle, if that be fat, regardless, your body doesn't know the difference. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be hard on your heart to pump that much blood through all that tissue, give or take muscle or fat. So I love what Quinton looks like right now. The big knock on him was he wasn't big enough to compete with these big boys. I think it was last year's New York Pro. He looked amazing, but he just looked small and he looked soft. That new muscle sometimes gets that soft, not as grainy look. And when that muscle starts to mature, you start to get that separation, that density, and that muscle maturity that we all love when we look at people like Hadi Choopan's and even like Dexter Jackson's The Blade. So people of that nature. Quinton Eriya looking phenomenal. Really excited to see him get on stage this year. We're going to see all this new muscle on show day, and we're going to see what it looks like. So very excited. But Quinton Eriya, best of luck in the near future. Also, I wanted to quickly highlight the Indy Pro. Now, they just announced as of today, an hour ago, that their live stream is only $10. I'm pretty sure they've said this before, but I want to keep pushing it, as this is going to be the first big show that I'm going to be providing my own full coverage and commentary on. So stay tuned for that. I think they're even sending me a poster, so I'm really excited for this show. This channel has grown exponentially, and a lot of opportunities are coming my way now because of, ladies and gentlemen like yourself supporting this channel, liking this channel, and continuing the conversation in the comment sections below. So please continue to do so. I always appreciate all of you frequent flyers and super fans, the conversations that you have in our comment section. So keep that up. I do appreciate it. But the Indy Pro is just around the corner, something like May 14th. So just a few weeks away, ladies and gentlemen, 3-4-ish weeks away. So stay tuned for the coverage of the Indy Pro here on BNN. Next up, Big Ramy. Now, I want to put as much positive spin on this story as possible. Big Ramy, as of yesterday, April 17th, sharing some world-class, jaw-dropping, the mirror Myron, as you can see in the guy in the corner, checking Big Ramy out. Physique update from Big Ramy, leading into his going for the three-peat at this year's Olympia. In the men's open, obviously men's open. And I want to say that this is very impressive, but I also want to highlight how it's tough to say how bad of an ambassador Big Ramy has been for men's open bodybuilding. He has not done what, and I talk criticism, a lot of criticism on Brandon Curry for his physique and, not really being Mr. Olympia caliber. But Big Ramy has the Mr. Olympia physique, but he doesn't do the promotion side, the ambassador side that Brandon Curry was phenomenal for. Brandon would go to schools and do seminars and do speeches and do meet and greets, and he was all over the place, a family man, just such a good guy. Love the guy. I really feel genuinely bad about how heavily I critique him, but when we look at his physique, I feel like people aren't talking about it anymore, and they're just kind of shooing him into potentially another Olympia run after this, borderline robbery at the Boston Pro. But talking about Big Ramy, I would love to see him do more for our community, do more for the athletes, talk about bodybuilding. I know he's been working really hard, him and Hadi Choopan, on their English and really improving their ability to communicate with the fans, communicate with our community. And I think that that's a phenomenal thing that he does. It sounds like he's going to do some guest posing in Pittsburgh, so he will be in the U.S. Expect him to do some promotional stuff with his different sponsors, and you can see the tags down here with Protan. Maybe he's going to do some stuff with KO Squad. I'm not sure there, but he did do some guest postings there last year at the inaugural KO Squad Pro in Egypt. So look out for Big Ramy. I'd like to see more from him in the terms of ambassadorship, but a physique update is always welcome here on BNN from the reigning two-time Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy. Another Olympia contender, Hadi Choopan, not specifically sharing physique updates, but lots of promotional videos for his sponsors, Evogen Nutrition, Hadi's, or Hani's, Hani and Hadi. I mix it up, but Hani Rambad's brand. And, they do a great job with these promotional videos, and they don't show too much. It's just enough, showing some shoulder pressing, but I'd like to see some more physique updates, but we can get what we can get. Something that a lot of people don't talk about is the absolute freaks in the top 2, top 3. You have people like Hadi Choopan, Big Ramy, just absolute freaks, proportions, potential, probably most likely sight enhancement in several areas, Big Ramy with the legs and then Hadi in the shoulders. You don't typically want to see that for the top guys. It kind of draws away from the aesthetics, but I think before Cedric's passing and some of these other guys, they've been trying to push back to the freak factor, and that's actually going to lead me into another story about RX Muscle. So Dave Palumbo has always been an advocate of the freaks, of the mass muscle, and I don't think that that's the most healthiest direction for men's open to go. But I will give Dave some credit. He's been doing some really good work with him and his brand over at RX Muscle to bring in some different talent to the channel and have more conversations outside of just, people from the 90s that used to compete and now they're just kind of giving their feedback on things. And, Dave's really infamous for bringing the conversation back to talking about how he used to compete, which, I think that that's valid. A lot of competitors do that. You listen to Sean Ray for 60 seconds and he's automatically talking about himself. But I like what RX Muscle is doing with their recent content posting, especially this most recent post just 20 minutes ago saying anxiety in bodybuilding. They have a new show called Iron Therapy with, her name is Leslie Timble. I haven't actually watched any of the episodes yet, but I've seen them bring on a couple different people like Xavier Willis from Desktop Bodybuilding. I have that on my save to watch when I get some free time, when I'm in the car. But I love what RX Muscle is doing in that aspect. Not a big fan of them always pushing the freak mass monsters, as it's really not the healthiest way for bodybuilding to go, especially in men's open. Speaking of freaks, Michal Križo sharing some more physique updates. As just a couple days ago, Nick Miller from Nick Strength and Power was announcing that Michal Križo has announced that he will be doing an NPC show to qualify as an IFBB Pro. Now, I did not watch the show, and I've looked at Križo's page. I haven't seen anything mentioning he's going to be doing an NPC show, so hopefully it's not just clickbait, or maybe it's just a behind the scenes thing that Nick is #1 in bodybuilding news, or at least bodybuilding Instagram news, and I'm sure he gets a lot of free insight from some of these big guys, as it is free promotion. So sharing some physique updates from this most recent IFBB Elite Pro. It looks like a Hercules Grand Prix. Love what I'm seeing out of Križo. He's so big. I love to see him on an NPC show. Easy pro qualification. But the real question is, where do you think Michal Križo would land if he was able to qualify for a pro show? Do you think he would place in the top 3 of any of the tier 1, tier 2 shows? And where do you think he would land in some of these elite tier shows, something like an Arnold, Ohio, or a Mr Olympia? Please let me know in the comment sections below. Speaking of elite tier, Ashley Kaltwasser winning again another IFBB bikini title, something like 33 or 34 IFBB Pro bikini wins in her career, really padding that record she has currently, and she's going to hold on to it for a long time. I don't think anyone's anywhere near the record she has. She most recently won the Golden State Bikini Championship. And then most recently, we haven't even covered it yet, but the women's bikini division at the Wasatch Warrior Show, an IFBB bikini and men's physique show. Stay tuned for that coverage, as hopefully I'll come out with that today or tomorrow. I'm not too sure, because I'm trying to get these morning videos in as well as some evening videos. So stay tuned for my continued coverage. Finishing off the coverage today, big congratulations, Ashley. We love what you're doing. Keep padding that record. But I want to talk about, as we start leading in to the Toronto Pro Show, just 50 days away. And then also, I believe there's another one, the Montreal Pro. Joe Seeman, Coach Little Joe, is prepping for another Canada title. Last year did really well at the Toronto Pro Show. Got beat out by I can't remember the gentleman's name, but kind of one of those guys you don't really see as much as you used to. I think he's a mutant athlete. I'll try to throw a picture on here if I remember what his name is. But Joe Seeman prepping for this show, just looking phenomenal. He's so big. The biggest critique, and I'm sure he would say it as well, is from the back. He is somewhat shallow in some of the positions and some of the muscle insertions, which doesn't favor him when you start comparing against, #1, #2 fellas. But Joe Seeman, phenomenal physique. I love the guy. He's so much fun to talk to, very knowledgeable. Hopefully we can get him on the show before he hops on stage. Just under, I think it's 6 or 7 weeks out from the Toronto Pro Show. So best of luck, Joe Seeman, on another pro prep. That sounds it's a tongue twister. He's also a new brand I've been seeing a lot of, is First Detachment Nutrition. Me being an active duty veteran, love seeing these real veteran brand focused things. Not that RX, or not the RX muscle. Sorry, Dave. Didn't mean to say that. The Redcon 1 garbage. You've got criminals promoting veteran-based companies. It's disgusting, and I really do hate seeing it. And their products are just straight trash. I've spent hundreds of dollars on Redcon 1 products, trying it out, trying to see if it would fit well for this brand, and their protein is just dog crap. The blendability, the taste, it's not good. It's really not that good. But anywho, enough of the negativity. Try to keep these as light as possible. Quinton Pearson, we'll finish up this video with Keone. I know it's a little bit longer, but I know you guys love this content. Quinton Pearson, another guest posing video at the NPC Sweden. Now, I also saw Nick Strength and Power was talking about Keone staying in the 212. That is something I think I covered last week, but I'm happy to see Nick Miller talk about it, as it does help the conversation get boosted, the algorithm get boosted. You know, more eyes, more views, more fans. Love it, love it, love it. Quinton Pearson, 212 guy, definitely going to stay in 212. Love his physique. Just such a freaky, such a genetically gifted gentleman. And I'm really happy that he decided to stay in 212 after, you know, kind of that knee-jerk reaction from that not great placing at the Olympia. In the 212, you know, I think he can do so much better if he just really dials it in. One of those guys that struggles with mental health as well, and I think that might have been one of those reasons why he had that knee-jerk reaction. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for another Morning Muscle episode here on the Bodybuilding News Network. If you enjoyed this coverage in the morning and this gave you some motivation to go into the day, please let me know in the comment sections below. And also, take a second, pause the video, and let me know any stories you'd like to see covered in another episode of Morning Muscle or Bodybuilding Today for the evening videos. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the episode on BNN. My name's Saunch. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.